My name is DG Valdron. This is my attic. These, by the way, are my books. I'm a writer. Today we are going to be reviewing Alien Romulus. And boy, does that roll off your tongue or what? Also, nothing to do with Star Trek, so I don't know what they were thinking. Anyway, so Alien Romulus. As far as I can see, it's got all kinds of reviews. The reviews are all over the map. And the really interesting thing is that every review is absolutely dead on correct. Whether they liked it, whether they didn't like it, whether they were just middle of the road about it, what they hated, it's all there. They just got it right. See, the problem with Alien Romulus is that it is the 9th movie in the Alien franchise. And what that means is that every single thing that can be done has been done. So what you've got left are basically repeats, recollections, remembrances. Now, if, for instance, you were like 8 years old when the last Alien movie, what was that? I'm blotting it out of my mind. It was horrible. It was Alien Covenant. Oh my God. God, that was awful. It was like a movie about a sadistic director with no respect for his audience or actors, torturing his characters and eventually killing them all off while he just continues to indulge himself. The movie and the production is basically the same thing. Although one thing I'll tell you about, Alien Covenant, it completely redeemed Alien vs. Predator Part 2 Requiem for me. I thought that was a terrible movie with no redeeming features. Turns out, it's actually a really good movie. All it took was for Alien Covenant to be so bad, it literally rewrote the landscape of good and bad. Alien Requiem, or Alien vs. Predator Requiem, actually had the advantage of moving quickly. It had the advantage of actual aliens, some decent production design, actors and characters that were committed to the roles they had, such as they were, and a lot of fun. It's amazing the things that you can only appreciate in hindsight. Anyway, so back to Romulus. The trouble with Romulus, of course, is that there's no new ground. So basically, if you are young enough that you've never seen any of the Alien movies, say if you're 20, and they've all kind of gone past you, and you might have seen one or two on late night, but nobody watches old stuff anymore. This is going to be great. Oh yeah, it's got like chest bursting and scary corridors and a terrifying black monster and slime and all of this and corridors in a spaceship and sci-fi stuff. Yeah, it'll be terrific. If you have no history with the franchise, you're going to be blown away. It's lovely. If, on the other hand, you have watched the franchise and you've loved it and you've just eaten up every movie in turn, yeah, you can like this. You can actually enjoy this because basically it's like a greatest hits medley. All the cool stuff from all of the previous movies are in there. They even do references to Alien Prometheus. I mean, I don't know that they should have, but they did it anyway. So those are the two audiences, the people who know the franchise so well and love it to bits that they'll just enjoy greatest hits, and the people who have no background. There are some interesting things, though, about Romulus. One is that the sensibility, the vision of the future, and the vision of the characters has changed. You go back, you look at the original Alien from 1979. What's interesting is that everybody is mature. Everybody there is in their 30s, 40s, even 50s. You got Harry Dean Stanton, who looked 60 when he was like 25. You had Yaphet Kotto. Everybody is mature and they're adults. And this continued through the next few movies, Aliens, Alien 3, Alien 4. It was all, fairly mature, fairly experienced casts. And there was a sensibility there that kind of continued. And it was the future is blue collar. So you go back to the first movie, all the characters there, they're not going boldly forth. What they're doing is that they're, putting in their 8 hours for a paycheck. In the first Alien movie, Harry Dean Stanton and Yaphet Kotto, they're constantly bitching about overtime and bonuses, and we're not getting paid for this. Why are we doing this crap? That's not in our job description. We're just space garbage men or space truckers. And I think that resonated with a lot of people, this sensibility that, the future was going to be blue collar, that we were all just kind of like going to go out there and it would be just a job. It would be just a regular job. The space shuttle, I think, had been going on for a few years. And by that time, space had lost its magic. It was the space shuttle meant that, it was almost like driving a bus now. There had been so many launches. Anyway, so fast forward to Alien Romulus. And I noticed two things. One is that this cast is really young. I mean, it's very, very young looking. They're definitely all 20-somethings. And some of them almost look like teenagers, late, mature teenagers, late teenagers, but teenagers. So you can probably tell this is the demographic they're aiming at. All the kids who are too young to have actually seen the entire franchise and worked their way through. But there's something interesting as well. And that is, they're really screwed. I mean, in Alien, it was just a workday. It was just, these were people who were just doing their jobs. And they expected to get home. They expected to see their kids, their families. They expected to bank their bonuses, go on vacation, have their lives. In this world, in this section of the Alien universe, life is really sucking. We see the protagonist, and she's got a broken down robot or an artificial intelligence, the alien type robots. And she's an orphan. Her parents died in the mine. She's trying to get the hell off the planet, but the company, Weyland-Yutani, rewrites the contract on her, and just poof. And suddenly she's got about 5 more years to work. There's no sunlight. Everything is grit and grime. There's another character. His father died down in the mines. And there's very much a sense that this world has gone from being like a working class world to a really crapsack, toxic world. In the 80s, in the 70s, we could trust our jobs. We can trust that we could make a living. And here, what we've got is a bunch of young Zoomers or millennials, and they're not making a living. They're scrabbling and struggling, and they're steadily losing ground. They're desperate. And that's why they go off to the abandoned derelict spaceship, and why they're willing to risk their lives, because they desperately need to get out. This is a side hustle for them. And I think that kind of speaks to a much more dystopic, a much more forbidding and frightening sense of where we are in the present, where, the millennials, the Zoomers, the Generation Alpha are basically looking around and going, oh, we are boned. We are so boned. Where all of the things that we could take for granted in the 70s and 80s, the ability to buy a house, the ability to buy a car, the ability to even afford a decent apartment, the ability to, get a decent education, the ability to basically have a decent life, a decent living, even at a working class level. That's just being priced out of reach. And instead, everybody's working their ass off for a toxic crapsack world that is predatory. One of the striking scenes is, and it's in the whole first half hour before all the action gets going, but it's a really nice depiction of a world where people's backs are up against the wall. And I think that's resonant. I think that gives the movie some edge, something worthwhile. So, for me, yeah, I liked it. I enjoyed it. I was sophisticated enough to recognize all the callbacks, and I was relaxed enough not to be offended by them. And the cast was engaging, and they brought some sincerity to it. The effects were mainly in camera or physical, and that was actually kind of nice too. So, I'm not a movie purist. It doesn't take much to please me. So why not? I would say give it a shot. Why not? What could go wrong? Especially if you're young. If you're young, you'll have a ball. Thank you.